Dear Sangha friends, Sangha means spiritual community. It's also called the community of mindful harmony. That's our aspiration. So my name is Mushim. That is a Korean Buddhist name that I was given in May of 1983 in Toronto, Canada, when I received the Bodhisattva precepts and I was given my name. We didn't get to choose our names. So my secular name is Patricia Ikeda. I'm a core teacher at East Bay Meditation Center. Good pronouns for me are she and her. And I am located on the occupied land of the Confederated Villages of the Lishan Ohlone, also known as Oakland, California. I'm wearing as usual, my glasses. I can't see without my glasses. They have sort of dark green rims. And I have, at this point for me, it's, I don't know, I guess medium length, almost, white and gray hair that is brushed back on top of my head. And I'm wearing a spring green, since it's spring, I'm wearing a spring green tunic with a floral pattern on it. And you can see the brown straps of the bib-like brown garment patchwork together. That is a Buddhist piece of clothing called a rakusu in Japanese or a kasa in Korean. My spiritual lineage is Korean, and I myself am a third-generation Japanese American. The title of my talk this evening, this is a very personal talk, is Rhythm and Flow, the seamless practice, the seamless practice. And what that means is to invite us into, so here's the tricky part. I am absolutely not, I'm trying to go in the other direction of creating more of a sense of pressure or white supremacy, urgency, or something like that. We're trying to go in the opposite direction, inviting us to really conceive of what we think of as our practice, our spiritual practice, our meditation practice, our mindfulness practice, our spiritual being practice. So I'm inviting us to really consider it as being seamless, being all of the same fabric. And that doesn't mean that it's all the same texture at all. It's more like one of those fabrics or hangings in an art museum made by an artist. There can be like giant lumps and stretched out pieces of the thread and different colors and different materials. Very cool, actually. And, but however, that is one giant, humongous hanging in the art museum that's 2 stories high or whatever. And we're like, oh, wow, that's so amazing. That's one work of art. That's what each of you is. And that's what your experience is. It's one work of art from the moment you're born and throughout whatever your lifespan is until that moment when this physical form that we think of as me changes in a very definitive way in the process we call death. As I wrote in my description, as BIPOC people, we have plenty of stress in our lives. I'm just going to make that assumption. If you're not, celebrate. However, these are stressful times. This evening is the 24th of March in the year 2022. I say this because we are historically and politically located. Spiritual practice itself often has a very timeless, non-linear time dimension to it that is very real. It's also very real that this is the end of March and I do need to get my tax documents ready for my CPA. Both are real. We're living at the time of the confirmation hearings for Ketanji Brown Jackson for the Supreme Court. That is filling up my news feed with all of this stuff. Russia has invaded Ukraine, and there are deep concerns about the possible use by Russia or deployment of chemical and nuclear weapons. And there are the ongoing stresses of the global pandemic, which continues, and climate crisis. There's just quite enough going on. Our spiritual meditation practice, in my opinion, does not need to bring additional pressure in the form of, I should be meditating more. If you maybe this isn't a thing for you, it is for many people. They talk to me as a meditation center teacher that I should be meditating more. But maybe not. Because when we establish meditation and mindfulness itself at our base, we can relax into sensing the rhythms and flow of daily life as a spiritual practice unto itself. This is what I call the seamless practice, or in the great teacher Thich Nhat Hanh's words, he passed recently, living into the understanding that, quote, the conditioned realm is the historical dimension. It is the wave. The unconditioned realm belongs to the ultimate dimension. It is the water. These two realms are not separate. And that comes from a book I really love called The Heart of the Buddha's Teaching, in the chapter on Right Mindfulness. In my opinion, we need to develop commitment and steadiness and intentionality to practice meditation, mindfulness, and spiritual development over the long run in order for it to deepen and give us the greatest benefit. However, there's on one hand commitment to a meditation practice, which, by the way, you don't need to do. There are many other wonderful practices that are not meditation. However, we're East Bay Meditation Center, and we've just done meditation. So commitment to a meditation practice on one hand, and being stiff and kind of serious about it and sanctifying it and having what I call the grim meditation look, or the I'm so serene meditation look, all the time is still a separation of thinking, I'm meditating now and I'm not meditating now. Usually we don't think I'm not meditating now, but between I'm meditating now and everything else. When we relax into more continuous mindfulness, I'm thinking of the kind of steadiness that needs to occur if you've ever poured like oil, cooking oil, into like an empty bottle, an empty wine bottle with a narrow top. Kind of needs a steady hand. Usually it's going to last for a few breaths. So you can't hold your breath and get all, super focused about it. One is concentrated and at the same time relaxed and really, really aware of that pouring into that narrow opening. So that would be one metaphor. When we relax into more continuous mindfulness, then we might very well be able to reconnect to a sense of creativity and, very importantly, creative play that brings joy, ease, and an amazing amount of spaciousness. It actually doesn't bring spaciousness into our practice. We're connecting to the spaciousness that is already there. So one of my colleagues who contacted me today to ask me to do a presentation for the Jung Center in Houston, Texas. It's for clergy and psychotherapists on trauma. Today, this person is a psychotherapist who's a practitioner in the Tibetan tradition. And he sent me this very brief, it's called like a pith teaching in Tibetan Buddhism from a very beloved teacher, Tibetan teacher named Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche. I believe he has been a teacher to His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. And this is a very concentrated essay called Dzogchen, Dzogchen, Practice in Everyday Life. I am not a student of Tibetan Buddhism. However, I have heard on very good authority that Dzogchen is quite similar to Zen Buddhist practice, which is my original lineage and practice. And East Bay Meditation Center is so lucky because one of our wonderful teachers has a small Dzogchen group that is just roaring along. I know several people in it. And that is my dear friend Margarita. I don't know if the group is open. However, again, there are a number of very steady practitioners in it, and they are going deep because it is a deep form of practice. So this is hot off the press that I read today by Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, who said, in meditation, we shouldn't become like a cat watching a mouse, like that. You're just watching that mouse. No, we should realize, Rinpoche says, that the purpose of meditation is not to go deeply into ourselves or withdraw from the world. Practice, he says, should be free and non-conceptual. So even dropping the thought, I want to go deeply into myself. I mean, that can be a nice intention. And then this teacher is saying, drop even that, drop everything, relax, relax. So practice should be free and non-conceptual. If we can allow our concepts and fixed ideas to just relax a little bit or a lot, that doesn't mean we don't have values, we do. However, if we can just relax, and in this form of meditation, there are many forms of meditation. In this form of meditation, we're simply noticing and observing in a very simple way that we're noticing sensations of being physically alive. We're noticing that thinking is happening without necessarily following that thinking into stories. Just let the thoughts burble away and let them go. And also noticing that emotions arise and change and pass away too. We're not repressing anything. We're letting it all flow past as much as possible. For me, every day and every part of every day has its own rhythmic quality, as though it were a song or a passage of music. And as we learn how to transition from one activity to another, say going from a business Zoom meeting to taking our children to the grocery store, those are two very different rhythms, we can perhaps establish a kind of a connection and a sense of enjoyable flow. Like the ocean, life has its flows and its ebbs and its flows and its tides. it's various forms of weather, different kinds of waves, and yet they're all water. And these are the rhythms that we can see in vast or small bodies of water. Notice that in English we say a body of water. We ourselves, in fact, are mostly water. So you're a body of water, and I'm a body of water. I'm going to share with you, this is a true story from my own practice. My background is both monastic and lay, and I spent quite a bit of my adult life living under a renunciant vow of poverty, and I was in a meditation lineage. So we meditated a lot. However, we had a whole communities to take care of. So in fact, seamless practice again. There's a lot of work to do and just a lot of things to do, you know. If you're a human being, you have to like wash your body and eat and talk to people and just take care of stuff. Wash your clothes. And it's the same in the monastery as it is anywhere else, and probably even more so because the community is taking care of itself. So there's always something going on, some kind of work party is going on. So this was a true story of December 1987, when I did a 7-day silent meditation, intensive meditation retreat in the Japanese Zen tradition of the Rinzai Zen lineage tradition outside of Los Angeles at a monastery called Mount Baldy, because it was located on a mountain called Mount Baldy. And so it's really, really, really cold. And I was 5 months pregnant. And I was just trying to like jam this thing in. I was very experienced meditator at the time. So, and they knew me. So I was well taken care of. I was fine. And I was just thinking, you know, I'm going to push it. I'm going to do this because once this kid is born, I'm a single mother. And who knows if I'll ever even get back to the meditation hall again for years. I've got to do this. And again, they were very kind and they made it possible for me. And I participated in everything. So that group, which is, the mother group is called Rinzai Ji, they can sit. And I sit because it's not lying down practice. Mainly, you got to be able to sit upright. I never saw any chairs around. It was very, very hard and strenuous practice. Kind of like Navy SEALs type practice. And what that meant was, this was not meant to punish people. It was a way to develop incredibly deep meditative concentration over a period of 7 days, the last of which was sleepless practice, and we practiced all night. However, it was made for human beings, and you can't keep people like sitting in these rock-like positions for hours and hours. So there was actually quite a bit of movement. There was walking meditation. There was marching back and forth to the meal hall. We got 3 nice meals a day. There were interviews with the teacher. I use the word interview. That's the word in English. It's more like encounters. And every day there was also moving to another hall, which was for the chanting, Buddhist chanting, and the Dharma talks given by the teacher, which were given in Japanese and translated into English. Now, this group used to call itself the fastest chanters of the Lotus Sutra in the West. They could really book. And in the chanting hall, there was a giant beautiful Japanese drum. I mean, this thing was huge. It was like a taiko drum. It was really, really large. And there was a beautiful big bronze bell with a wonderful sound, and other Buddhist percussion instruments as well. So the chanting was very, very fast, and it was fun because, you know, you're sitting around on your butt in silence for many, many hours or doing all the stuff in silence. So that was a time when we could hear the voice of the community and chant, and then hear this talk. So I was sitting there, and I had he's my one and only child. My one and only child was inside me, and outside of me, this chanting was going on. We were chanting, and this giant drum was going boom, 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 very loudly, very fast. And my unborn child positioned himself and began kicking me from the inside in perfect rhythm with the drum. That was such an amazing experience. And that's how I discovered that actually the drum is the primal. I mean, it's the original instrument. Why? Because we are drums. So the drumming was going on outside of me, and at the same time, in complete unison and harmony, I became the drum for my unborn child. Just think about that. You know, at 5 months of pregnancy, that person was hearing and feeling and then responding in complete communication. So that inner and outer disappeared. And that's an example of the seamless practice. About mindfulness meditation, also known as insight or vipassana meditation, which is mostly what we do at EBMC, the very well-known vipassana or mindfulness meditation Buddhist teacher Joseph Goldstein even says in his instructions on how to practice in his book, One Dharma, The Emerging Western Buddhism. So Joseph says, as you relax, again, the word relax, more and more into the awareness of your body, begin to open, if you can, to the experience of hearing. Not everyone's a hearing person. However, we have, I think, closed captions here. However, we don't yet have ASL interpretation. So if you're a hearing person, Joseph says, begin to open to the experience of hearing. Notice whatever sounds appear. Simply listen as if you were hearing your favorite music. In other words, we're not trying to block out sounds as we're doing mindfulness meditation if we're hearing people. Very important. Notice those sounds if they signal any kind of danger or something we should be attending to, attend to it. However, if they don't, then it's a really interesting experiment to try to listen in that way. Can we listen to all the sounds we might hear as we grow more silent? A car horn blaring, dog barking, a baby crying, our neighbor playing loud music and trampling around in the apartment above us. Any kind of sounds, whether we like them or not, as if they were our favorite music. In other words, with a sense of pleasure, of appreciation. Wow, I just love this song so much. Is this a danceable tune? Something that puts us into touch with our feelings of heartbreak? An anthem of freedom? If we can sink deeper into samadhi or meditative concentration, we might become aware of the rhythms of physical sensations, the heart, the breath, contractions and expansions and tingles and pulses and coolness and warmth. Our body sensations are rhythms, rhythms that together form the flow of physical existence. If we're not hearing persons, we can feel rhythms in our bodies because sound is vibration. And there is online, I'll try to put it in the chat in a moment, if you're interested, at the Dharma Seed, dharmaseed.org is a big library of audio recordings of mindfulness, vipassana meditation, Dharma talks by teachers. It's all gift economic, so it's all free of any fixed fee. And I have a very old talk that might be of interest to you or not, called Universal Heartbeat, applying skillful effort and right diligence to our practice. Universal Heartbeat at dharmaseed.org. So you can see there's been so much continuity in my interest in this topic that it's, and that was given in July 2009 at a People of Color retreat. It was a beautiful, beautiful late spring evening in the meditation hall. So I'm trying and inviting all of us to try relaxing more and more into openness to rhythm and flow in our meditation practices. And then blending that openness into the moment when formal meditation is ending and life itself is continuing. Because it isn't ending at all. It's just that the next moment is happening. Thank you so much. We'll bring this talk to a close here, and we have time for 10 minutes. If you have your own insights and any questions that you ask, I will try to answer. Thank you for your kind attention. So what I'm hearing is we can switch our framing from discipline, must do this, must do that, to devotion. We're going to shift from framing our practice, instead of discipline, we're thinking of devotion. That is, it's very traditional, actually. I mean, it would be more the traditional way, I think, of my understanding of Buddhist practice, it is devotional. It is devotional. And so that's why I was using the word commitment. Can we think in terms of committing to being more mindful, whatever our goals are, to generating more loving kindness, to different people have different spiritual practices and different spiritual goals. So it's like any other, it's a relationship. It's a relationship to our practice, and that requires commitment and continuity. And it won't be perfect. As with every relationship, there are going to be gaps, and there will be pauses, and there will be fights, and there will be good days, and there will be boring days, and there will be bad days. However, if we have commitment, then there is that flow. I mean, I talked to you about my child. He's getting ready to be 33, and he's in the next room over. We're still together. That baby whale is still swimming alongside the mother whale after all these years. So that has been a long commitment in my life. And that relationship, of course, has changed and grown completely. So I feel that what your teacher gave you was beautiful and wonderful advice. And just relax. Forget about the discipline thing. Really, people who show up like, I meditate every day, 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes at night. There was one Asian teacher who said, "What the hell is wrong with these people? Is there some magic thing about 20 minutes and 20 minutes?" Whoever said that? No one did. No one did. So relax around it. If it develops naturally with continuity and commitment, then the practice is going to naturally expand. Why? It's because we become happier over the long run. If your practice does not bring you liberation and happiness, then what the heck? What is it for? And the more liberated we feel and the happier we are, of course, we're going to want to do those things more that lead to those qualities of life. So don't need to worry about anything, really. I wouldn't say that the earth element has a rhythm. It has rhythms. And you know why I say that? It's because the house I'm in, we are sitting right on top of the fault. This is an old house divided into flats. It's a rental space. And this has been through the big one, two big ones. And it's so well built, it rolls so far. Yes. So Quentin, the answer is that, of course, the earth element has many different rhythms all the time. The water element, infinite rhythms all the time. Air, you think about the rhythms of air on your skin? Wow, incredible rhythms. Different volumes of rhythms. All of the elements, if we want to think in terms of that framework. You can see I'm just, I only say one thing, rhythms and flow, because that's how I experience it. And when we don't experience the flow, then actually we can't perceive rhythms. Well, as many of you know, Buddhist gatherings often end with what is called the dedication of merit. Merit is a kind of an odd word in English. It's obviously from an original word that was not English, so it's translated. And I always talk about merit for us as kind of, it's like goodness, good stuff. Hopefully we have planted many beneficial seeds. And once again, the great teacher Thich Nhat Hanh, who recently passed, wrote this, which is published in a book called Chanting from the Heart. So it's meant to be a chant. May the path of the Buddha grow brighter. May the Dharma become clearer. May wind and rain be favorable. Those of us here in California, any rain would be favorable. May this country be at peace in the cities and rural areas. May nature be safe. May people in society be free and equal. May the refreshing breeze of compassion enter into this world of heat, allowing the sun of wisdom to shine clearly in the cloudy sky, so that the path of liberation is appreciated everywhere, and the wisdom rain falls, benefiting all species. Thank you very much. May you be safe and protected from all harm. May you be joyful. May you be happy. May this evening bring joy and ease.